Howdy, guys.
Hello.
So, welcome to the, what are we on? The March YouTube live show. We got Becca here.
Hi, that's me.
Yeah. Coming to hang out.
Yep. On this lovely Saturday.
So we're starting, obviously, about 10 minutes early. The official choral portion of the show starts up at 2 p.m. Eastern. And we usually just like to take the opportunity now just to kind of do a little bit of a mic check and whatnot. So I've got my mic here. Becca's got her mic there, roughly. So let us know if this sounds okay, because this is actually the first time that I've run this particular configuration of microphones. I don't know if there's going to be some like weird double echo or something like that, just because of the two mics, and I don't really know. So if it's like really bad, we'll just like go off of the one mic, which will probably work out just fine. But yeah, just let us know in chat, right? And so also, just by starting early, we get to have a little bit of time for folks to get their the talking, guys. I don't know, man. Might not be super fluid today. I don't know.
That's fine. This is what the beginning portion is for you to get all of your full mental typos out. That's what I was trying to say. See, I'm doing it too. I can't talk.
Well, you can tell we're on our A game today.
Yeah.
Right? We just look the part today. It's like we have to compensate by like dressing up. So like, okay, we're an authority. We know what
we only look presentable physically, not mentally.
Yeah, it's so hopefully you guys are doing okay. It's like gorgeous outside too, which I don't know if that's necessarily helping. It's like maybe I should be outside.
Yeah. Hopefully it's nice wherever you guys are. I just know it here in Ohio. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Could be slightly warmer, but I'm happy with the current weather outside. It's better than snow.
Which supposedly we're supposed to get next week.
Yeah.
Once again.
No thanks.
Okay, so it looks like sound is good. So thank you guys so much, Mike and Jay Place. Someone from South Korea. Hello.
Fun.
South Korea is definitely on my future travel list. I've been there like a few years ago. I really enjoyed myself. It was 1,000,000 degrees though. Like I can't even describe how hot it was. It was really, really hot. But the food is amazing. Like I was in Seoul. Such a cool place.
It's cold here in Germany. Sorry, Germany.
Yeah, sorry, Germany. You know what? I'll take Germany too. Like I've never been to Germany. And rainy in London. Yeah, the time that I was in London, you guys get plenty of the rain.
That's what my sister said. My sister went to London. She was like in one of our high schools here. Her high school got chosen to. Her high school marching band that she's in got chosen to march in London in like their parade, their New Year's parade or something, which was pretty cool. And she said, yeah, it was pretty rainy most of the time she was here.
It's good. Yeah, people talk about how how it's always cloudy and rainy in London, right?
Yeah,
that's like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was actually there, I'm like, you really don't see the sun. Like it didn't come out the entire week that I was there. Yeah, but. I don't know. Have you ever been to the EU?
I have not. The only other country I've been to has been Canada. So.
And I guess technically the UK is not in the EU anymore. But okay, so you've been to Canada.
I have been to Canada, but it was Niagara Falls, so I doubt that counts.
Oh, that counts. That counts.
Does it really? Because it's right on the border. It's not like Canada.
But Canada is basically on the border. Like, you're not going to be going to, like,
Fair enough.
The Arctic.
I mean, I'd like to see the scenery of Canada, not just Niagara Falls. And also, I was 8 years old, so I don't remember any of it.
Well,
I need to go places. I really do. I need to get a passport. Me and Than were talking about that. I don't have a passport anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but a passport is not super helpful right this second, but
True.
We're getting there.
It almost is.
Come to Ireland. Screw Korea. And
I would like to go to Ireland. I've always wanted to go.
oh my gosh.
Purely for photography purposes, honestly.
Uh-oh, Liam from New Zealand, Middle Earth. We talk all the time about like
Hypothetically moving to New Zealand, moving the
like,
company to New Zealand.
if like we needed to like show up on a boat like refugees or like whatever it would take, because like you're not gonna let me in normally.
Yeah.
No,
New Zealand's doing it right.
Yeah, I came from this past year. I've come away with a very, very high impression of New Zealand. Super hot in Singapore. True. I love me some Singapore. I was checking on flights between the future location of Tidal Gardens in Singapore to my house in New Zealand, and it was like a 9.5-hour flight. Which is hilarious because I'm actually very, very comfortable here in Ohio, but yeah, it's like Singapore and New Zealand are like very high on my travel list. So love you guys, you're doing it right. Czech Republic. Oh, and so Martin is asking, how is Becca's tank doing?
I just read that. I was going to bring that up. Becca tank is here. It is here.
It is real.
It is, yeah, it is physically here. It's nothing else has happened to it besides the tank arriving a few days ago. So we haven't really done anything yet. We're probably going to start doing videos on it pretty soon. But it is, what size is it?
Good question. I think it's like,
I can't remember specifically.
it's under 150, more than 120 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, pretty good sized tank. If you saw my video talking about different tank design ideas, and so we decided to go with a combination of my tree design for the tank and my shallow reef design. We're going to incorporate both of those, so it'll definitely be a clownfish tank. I'm dead set on clownfish. Than thinks I'm going to hate it, but we'll find that out.
Yeah, well, okay. So I guess like fish aren't super high on my things I love about this hobby list. But definitely clownfish are one of the reasons that would be the case. I think tangs are like the number one reason right now. But yeah, it's not my favorite. She's really loud.
Sorry, I tend to be like that.
So well, it's okay, I'll turn her down just a little bit. Thanks, Harkins.
My voice carries.
Yeah, she's like this, and so is Nathan. Like their dynamic range is up there.
I was in theater for a little bit. I know how to throw my voice a little bit, so I gotta watch out for that.
So you mentioned like your past video. You went over 5 different aquarium types, and you mentioned 2 of them, but do you remember like what the other ones were?
So just to go back on what I said earlier, I had a tree rockscape design type tank for like a cube style tank. I had a shallow reef tank that I had archways for, like rock work archways in. Then I also had a drop-off style tank, a nano tank, and then a cylinder style tank, and those were my tank ideas. So we ended up going with a combination of both the cube design and the shallow reef design. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's the idea.
So I've never managed a tank that wasn't a tiny beta fish tank before, so this should be interesting. Love beta fish though. I love beta fish.
And I haven't had like a freshwater tank in decades, probably like 30 years probably. Haven't had a freshwater tank. Tyler is asking, hold on, we're about to get going on the thing. I just don't want to miss the timing of all this. We are not having guests over just yet, but hopefully soon, because we're now at least in Ohio, starting to get a lot more people like vaccinated and stuff. And so I think like the complete imminent risk of COVID is not quite as it was. So for example, like Nathan just got, I mean, not that he works here, but Nathan just got, he got vaccinated like yesterday, and I was eligible yesterday as well, but I just didn't get an appointment just yet because I was busy setting up this show, guys. See what I do for you? see, this is the commitment I have to this show. I'm not getting vaccinated because I was a little busy, right? But I think in 9 days, like your age group.
Yeah, from people 16 years old and up are allowed to get it in Ohio at least.
Yeah.
March 29th. So
yeah.
Once that starts, it's going to be just so many people trying to cram into getting the vaccine. So
yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how things go. I mean, not that like, well, we'll see. That's all I can say. Let's see. Phil Bell, dinoflagellates, how do you get rid of them? So this is something that you might actually run into.
Really?
With setting up a new aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people kind of like focus on like pollution parameters that kind of plague more aged aquariums, like specifically like nitrate and phosphate. That's like the two like big things that people worry about. But one thing that I think goes under the radar is that when you first start your aquarium, essentially those pollution parameters are like nothing. Mm-hmm. And there's like a certain range of these things where stuff does well. So with a little bit of nitrate and phosphate, like certain algae might do well, and coral actually like it. Mm-hmm. But if you have like zero of both, something called dinoflagellates can really take off. And it is like this brown, long hair-like slime that it just kind of like coats everything, and it just like completely outcompetes pretty much other algae and your corals and stuff.
Wait, so is it that same as like the hair algae that we had?
It's not hair algae.
It's not, but okay.
Yeah, it's a different type of like weird brown slimy thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's just a matter of letting the tank age a little bit, and just as long as you can control it to the extent that it doesn't actively kill your other tank inhabitants, it kind of goes away on its own. So in answer to Phil, it's to like slowly, and I mean slowly, start elevating your nutrients to get kind of out of the range where dinoflagellates just love that almost near zero levels of nitrate and phosphate. And once like you have a more mature aquarium, you almost never have that issue. But it is a thing that we were running into down in our quarantine systems, because they were fairly new, and with the amount of activity that we do in there as far as like polishing and keeping it clean, it was too clean. And so like all of a sudden you're seeing like a lot of this dinoflagellate. It's like, okay, that will actually kill the coral that we're trying to quarantine. So we have to aggressively remove that, but also try to carefully increase the nitrates and phosphates to make it a slightly dirtier tank, if that makes sense. Now, the problem that a lot of people will run into also with just trying to like raise that nitrate and phosphate is that if you do it too quickly, you essentially might start a new cycle in your tank, and that could be like super deadly. Because like if you have ammonia, for example, very toxic, nitrite, very toxic. So I don't know, this is like bashing you over the head like the chemistry lesson. But it is something that like you might see. Yeah, looks like snot, like brown snot.
Brown gooey goo.
Yup.
Well, that sounds like a blast and a half then.
Okay, Luis, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Your take on Ryan adding sand. Given your troubles with dry rock, marketing ploy to sell sand. Okay, currently cycling a bare bottom with dry rock. I am going about it the wrong way. Newbie here. Okay. Okay. It totally depends on who you ask. Are you going to have sand in your tank?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it, maybe.
Okay.
Quite possibly. I think in my designs I had sand on the bottom.
Okay. So I like sand. Ben and Luke hate sand.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And so they don't actually get a say because they don't actually take care of these tanks, right? Mm-hmm. So at some point, one of my show tanks just might have a sand bed, and they're just gonna be like, "Since when did this show up? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter." But you are not necessarily going about it the wrong way. There's a lot of benefits to having sand. I think the downside is like that people think that it collects dirt and junk and like gets very, very messy. And if you kind of let it stay messy, then it can kind of lead into other problems. But the benefit is that it kind of like increases biodiversity, and that biodiversity even acts like clean the water more. So you've never been to Nathan's place when we shot his tank.
No, I haven't been to Nathan's
But you've seen the footage, and his water looks crystal clear. Mm-hmm. And I think some of that is due to the fact that he has like this sand bed where it's able to process a lot of that nutrient, and also just like the little creepy crawlies in there, are actively making the water clearer in its own way, like even just the bacteria and stuff. So is it a mistake to add sand? Certainly not. However, I think that in like higher flow tanks, people like to go with bare bottom just because they're able to pump more flow into the water. Because if there's sand, it'll be like a huge dust storm. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Somebody's asking about the yellow tanks. How are they doing? They're alive.
Yeah, they're not doing too shabby.
They're fighting like crazy.
Yeah.
So that's like my one big problem with a lot of the fish that we're having right now is that God, they're such jerks.
Didn't we have to move one of the smaller yellow tanks because he was getting beaten up?
Yeah.
By other ones. We had to move him somewhere.
So that involves catching yet another fish out of the 600-gallon tank.
Yep.
And it's like it's a really good thing that we have like some pretty talented fish catchers here, because that is not fun to do. But yeah, the aggression. I mean, you would think that in a 600-gallon tank you wouldn't have such problems, because most of the times when people talk about like fish ganging up and beating up on each other, it's because they're trying to do like 6 tanks in like a 55-gallon tank. But we've got like 6 tanks in like a 600-gallon tank, and had we not caught this one tank, it would have been dead the next day, sort of thing. Like they were that aggressive about it. No, dude, they're such jerks. Like, why can't you guys just be normal? That sort of thing. No, so nowadays, like when I think of fish, it's like I just want to have like enough fish that it eats the excess food from the feeding that I do for the corals. Like I don't even like necessarily need them to do a whole lot other than that. Yeah, fish are jerks. Fish are such jerks. Let's see. 328 Reef in the house. He's a member, one of the few. Woo. So real quick, I usually do like the hellos and thank yous. Do you want to do the list?
Sure.
Okay. So this is the YouTube list.
Okay,
so,
just say hello,
yeah,
everybody.
So thank you to Jen Coop 3.8, Hal Scott 328 Reef, who is in the house as we've quite recently learned, Daedre Zuner, and 2 Please. Thank you very much for being our members here at on YouTube. And then we also have the Patreon list, which is a bigger list. It's a mouthful. Oh, hey, look, I didn't mean to do that. All right, so no scam likely. Actually, right. I might have to do this just because it cuts off the names.
It does. I remember some of the names that are cut off. So.
Okay.
Am I doing it? Are you doing it?
Go
This
ahead.
is taking too long for us to figure out. We didn't coordinate this properly.
It's too hard. Too hard.
All right. So thank you to Bill Russell, Brandy Camp, Christopher
Frame.
Jeremy Altman, which is 2 please, Alan Jackson, Chuck Admire, Ernest Wallace Jr., Jean A. Van Voorst, Greg Zimmerman, Gwen Nicodemus, Harkins Aquatics, Keith Singer, Kevin Cortez, Lisa, how do you pronounce? I'm so sorry. Clow, thank you. Nicole Cormier. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name, by the way.
Cormier.
Puddle Aquatics, Rebecca Hull, Reef Infidel, Rigoberto Rodriguez III, I think is that. Ryan Kern, Sana Nomine, Scotty D, Skylar Korn, Sue Hemmons, The Classroom Reef, Thomas Tarrant, Tim Garner, Trevor Joseph Overbeck.
And that's it. Good job.
Thank you to everyone who is giving us money on Patreon and YouTube.
We appreciate you very much.
I try my best to, please. I really do. So speaking of, we were on the topic of fish being absolute jerks, and we were talking earlier about my tank that I'm going to be setting up here, and I want to do clownfish, which are jerks. Are there any fish that go pretty well along with clownfish? Do they get along with pretty much anybody, or I don't know. I don't know if they get along or if there's some fish that absolutely cannot be housed with clownfish because they'll absolutely attack each other. Anybody with clowns, please help me out here.
Yeah. I don't even know if clownfish are necessarily like super mean to other fish, because they usually like to like hang out in a really, really, really small confined space.
Okay.
What happens though is like when you put your hands in the tank, they're gonna come after you.
So they're like damsels, in a sense.
They're like damsels, and at one time they were considered like less mean damsels. Okay. But now that they've gone through a lot of aquaculture and breeding programs, they got meaner. So that these like kind of the more basically the clowns that you're gonna get, because you're gonna want like the panda ones and stuff like that. Of
course, not the fancy ones.
The fancy ones are a lot meaner, and because they get bigger than damsels, they do more damage when they bite. So I mean, I happen to like the design of like lightning maroon clowns and stuff. And maroon clowns are hands down one of the meanest fish you can possibly get your hands on. That'll also get their hands on you, essentially. So
I think we were talking about that when we were talking about what kind of clowns I wanted. I'm probably not going to get the maroon ones just for that reason. I
haven't even owned them, but I've seen enough that I'm like, I'm good on that. Because that's a very large, angry ball of anger fish, you know, and they can draw blood for sure.
Yay. I know. So 328 Reef said blennies, and I'm up a little bit more. He said all tangs. They said all tangs and blennies do well with.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Damsel. Oh, damsels are evil.
Damsels are evil. I would much rather have damsels than clowns. It
is really funny whenever I'm not doing computer stuff, if I ever need to take a break, my job is to clean snails downstairs, which is fun. And so I'll be in there just picking snails out, and it's so funny to watch the little tiny damsels just square up with the giant hand coming in there. It's so funny because they just headbutt you. It's all they do.
So have they actually bitten you before?
If they have, I didn't feel it, but it's mainly just them headbutting me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Place agreed. Maroon clowns are crazy aggressive. Yeah, just going over some of the fish comments here. Yeah, clowns can be super mean to your LPS corals. True. Yeah.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, it's almost like they love them to death sort of thing.
I was like, that makes sense.
Because certain corals just don't like being touched.
True.
And if you have like this big fish that's like always just in there, just like
I love you. I love you a lot. I love you.
It's like I'm gonna live in you now. It's like, no, I'm gonna die now. Thanks. I hope I didn't cost very much. I'm just like a gold torch coral or something. Mm-hmm. So speaking of like expensive stuff, yellow tangs, because of like this Hawaiian ban, they're all super expensive now.
Right, yeah, I knew that.
Anybody that wants a yellow tang and wants to like pay way too much for it, come talk to me. Come talk to me. I will sell you yellow tangs.
Wow.
I know I'm such a generous.
Too expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive, and I will take your money and give you a yellow tang. Yeah, it's wild how expensive some of those fish have gotten. So Nathan has in his tank what's called like a Hawaiian flame wrasse. It's like a yellow wrasse, and those things are like over $1,000 right now. Wow. I know.
How much did he get it for?
I don't know. They were probably like $100 at most, probably $100. Actually, guys, I don't know how much Hawaiian flame wrasses were. For some reason, like the number 65 is coming to mind, but I've never purchased one, so I'm not really sure. But I know it wasn't $1,000. That's crazy town.
Jeremy places it. Use it to fund your Tesla purchase.
Oh, the Tesla is definitely happening. They just need to build me the vehicle. Like I'm in. They just need to. They physically build me a car. Yeah, the whole EV truck thing is like super interesting to me because like one of my my close friends, and you may have seen her on this show before. They've been guests before. Have you ever actually met Lawson and Suzanne?
No, I've never met Lawson and Suzanne. I want to meet Lawson and Suzanne.
Yeah, they're very cool. So Suzanne is now like a lawyer. Well, she's been a lawyer for a long time, but she's a lawyer for Rivian. So for you guys that don't know, like Rivian is one of these EV startup truck companies, blah, blah, blah. And so she's like in-house counsel at Rivian. And so they're going to be getting a Rivian. And I'm like really curious to see like how that compares to like a Cybertruck. So anyway, yes. 2 please, $4.99. Thank you. I'll sell my yellow tanks too. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm definitely not married to the idea of having bright yellow fish that like to kill each other. Lots of lols. Master Than, teach us and talk about Bergia nudibranchs. You've seen these recently.
Those are the ones we just got?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a bunch of those.
Yeah. So a local hobbyist was trying to get rid of like a whole bunch that he's been growing. And from what I understand, like they're difficult to source online. You can't very easily just purchase them online. So when this person just wanted to trade in like a bunch of these nudibranchs for essentially some acrofrags and maybe some other stuff, we got a bunch of them, and I'm really looking forward to a day where I just like wake up and it's like, hey, seems that the Aptasia are just kind of gone. But it's been early days. I think that we got them like maybe on Wednesday or something. And this is like the first time I've ever even seen them, ever, like in person seen them.
They're weird looking.
And I'm like super racist against nudibranchs after all these years of like dealing with like Montipore eating nudibranchs or like the zoanthid eating nudibranchs. It's like any nudibranch I'm like kind of like side-eyeing. But yeah, I hope that they do the trick, like because you know like Aptasia are like a B-list pest, right? It's not like super terrible, horrible as you might hear online. Like there's like really bad pests out there that can like pretty much end your tank, and then there's like annoying pests, and I would consider like Aptasia an annoying pest along with like vermitid snails and stuff. But at the same time, it's if you can just add these things in and they take care of the problem, it's like very hopeful, very hopeful.
Yeah, we got a bunch of really close-up footage of all these guys, and it's really funny just watching it through a really ultra macro lens because it just looks like little tiny pieces of rice. Like it just rice on a string is what these guys look like. It's funny.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I just hope that they work, because that would be a lot less work for me to like go and inject individual ones with like some kind of weird chemical. One meaning Aptasia, not the nudibranchs. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like we have wrasses, and I don't know if like the wrasses will just eat them. Because the wrasses don't seem to eat the problematic ones that I wanted them to eat, but they'll eat the good ones. Like, it'll work out that way, So Marcus really says, I got a few of mine for $47. There you go. Tigaism TV. How much are yellow tangs really? I think they're like between $500 to $700 or something like that. Yeah. So
we'll sell them to you for $1,000.
Yeah, and so like Bien. I got my yellow tang for $60 4 years ago, and now my LFS said it's worth $400 if you can find one selling it. Yeah, stuff is crazy. Yeah, I sold my yellow tang before COVID for $80. So mad at myself now. I got a few of them. They instantly disappeared in my display. Definitely interested that you have to make sure that your fish are well fed, and carefully place them on the rockwork with a pipette. So the ones that we got are big. Like, I don't think that you're going to pipette them in. Like, they were... I mean, shoot. I mean, some of them might have been like postage stamp sized. Like, that big. So they were like big, hunking...
I know Luke was able to get a majority of them in with a turkey baster.
Okay, with like a big turkey baster?
Yeah, we turkey basted them in.
Okay. Are there any sponges that are invasive? Yes. It's very, very possible. Usually they're very ugly looking. Like the ugly looking sponges tend to be the invasive ones. So the thing about like nudibranchs is that there's like so many like really pretty ones, and unfortunately most of them like eat corals. Tidal Gardens, would you, so this is the British melon, would you know how much McCoskers are going for? I have no clue. Like, I'm definitely not fish guy. I mean, I'm so boring when it comes to fish. I just want enough fish to eat the excess food I put in.
What is a McCosker?
I'll show you a picture. It's like I think they're blue and yellow. McCosker's rat. Oh, I'm wrong.
Oh, look, they're so pretty.
I've had these before.
What? These are amazing looking.
Yeah, they're called flasher wrasses.
Huh.
Okay, and because they do this like flash display here.
I want one of those.
Okay. You can't have one. So the problem, okay, I used to have this like way back in the day when I was like living with my parents, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember I got like 6 of these things, and I think like the next morning all 6 had jumped.
Fun. Great.
Yeah, you basically
outstanding.
Yeah, you basically need to have like a good cover on your tank, because these guys are like missile launchers. They take off. They're pretty though. Let's see if I can find. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Live Aquaria's website. I'm not showing this on stream, obviously. Hello, Live Aquaria. No, hello. Oh, here we go. So, well, according to Live Aquaria, they are $50, give or take. Much less than I would have thought. Much less. Let's see. Recognize. Don't go Bergia if you have a small Aptasia problem. They'll starve before they can find all the Aptasia. Don't you worry. I got enough to keep them fed. We have a big place. We have a big place here. But he's probably saying that, quite generally. Like if you have a small Aptasia problem, that sounds like you and a toothbrush away from handling it. An aquarium is incomplete without a clownfish. Incorrect.
I don't know. I kind of like that attitude.
It's like everybody's got a plan for clownfish until they're getting like bitten.
Wear gloves.
You've never worn gloves.
No.
So she did mention it, but like when she needs to take like a mental break from doing like photo editing or something like that, she'll go and clean snails. Never once wears gloves, which is okay.
No. Well, I don't feel like if I'm getting bitten by a clownfish, then I'll wear gloves. But I'm not. My only threat right now is the little tiny blue damsels that headbutt me, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
They surprise me though when they do like go all stabby. It's like, whoa, what was that? Mesh lid, not gonna cut it. I've had. I guess it depends on how fine the mesh is, because I've had like fish jump through egg crate. So yeah, it has to be pretty thin, and I'm not a huge fan of mesh to begin with because I think it just looks bad. It's just not my thing. I'd rather get an actual hard like glass or some kind of cover. Yeah, some of the fairy wrasses are real cool looking. True. And Necker corals. Hi from Germany. Hello. Again, I would like to visit Germany. I think that'd be a lot of fun. There's so in Germany, Becca, there's a show that they have called Interzoo. It is the largest pet expo on planet Earth. Okay. It is like, from what I understand, miles of like pet industry displays. Miles. Like you could. So there's like an entire like, I don't know, Cleveland Browns stadium sized space just for like dog and cat probably. Yeah. That sounds dope. Yeah, exactly. It's like a week long or something like that. But I would definitely like to go to and visit Interzoo just for that whole experience, because it's like, you know what? I mean, it's cool to see all the aquatic stuff, but I want to see the cat and dog stuff too, you know? Yeah. I want to see the reptile stuff. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it's cool stuff.
I'll see the reptiles any day. Any day. Love me some reptiles.
Yeah, and so they like the companies go hard for that show. So they're really like spending some big bucks on their displays and everything like that. It's really neat. Man and Con. Tidal Gardens team. Thanks for your information and service also. Just following up, when will we have torch corals for sale again? I understand you were growing some out last year. That's a really good question. That's probably more of a Luke and Ben question than a Than question. However, I think there might be some on this show, maybe. Do you remember shooting a torch coral for this show?
Oh, did I?
There's, again, it all blends together.
It really does. And sometimes like Luke will shove just other WYSIWYGs for me to shoot along with coral stuff. And so I may have shot something. I may have shot a torch. I can't guarantee that it was for this show during the time I was shooting the show.
It's so bad. Like, okay.
It blends together. It really does.
Yeah. So she shot all the corals.
Yeah.
I edited this broadcast file that you're seeing behind us. And it's like, I don't know if I saw a torch. Like, I don't know what the heck I saw.
I don't think there was a torch.
Okay. So, maybe. is my answer. Maybe. I know for a fact we have torches here. As far as like their availability for sale is a little bit murky right now. So I apologize for that. Maybe you could sell your cat treadmill there. Yeah. You know, there's just some things. So Harkin's like, if you go to Interzoo, I will go with you. Like, there we go.
Cool. We got a team.
So Harkins, once I am less concerned about, you know, just everything involving travel, I would still very much like to come visit you in Vegas, and we will go see some tanks, and I will probably be dining in some really fancy places. It'll be Good times. Good times. That's all I ever do in Vegas. I just eat. Like that's my life right there.
I feel like it's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's like no gambling.
You don't have to gamble in Vegas.
No clubs.
Overrated.
Yeah, it is truly. So we like my friends and I, it's like some places will do like, oh, it's free drinks as long as you're gambling, and then they'll give you like $100 to gamble. So we went straight to the dollar slots, or not the dollar, like the penny.
The penny slots, yeah.
Right. And we were just like doing panny, looking around for like a waitress, panny, and we got a picture taken of us. We looked so unhappy. We looked so unhappy. So it's like, you know what? No.
Penny slot guys.
Yeah, it's so unhappy. I should just bought some drinks or whatever the heck I wanted and just like gone about my day. Yeah, spending that whole time just trying to get like a free drink is not worth it. Not at the slots. Greg Reefboy. Hi, Than and Becca. I ordered some stuff today and I'm going to pick up frags. What do I need to set up a pickup time? Call you guys? Best bet is to email so that we have like a nice written record that multiple people see. So go ahead and email us at support@tidalgardens.com, or orders@tidalgardens.com will work as well. Harkins, Glitter Gani coming soon? No, we've got only like a handful of those. We need to propagate those for sure. We do have them, but it might be a little bit for those. Let's see. Hey, Than, when is the next update on the display aquarium in the new building? Soon, actually. Just so I'm not going to like spoil it all, but it is looking really clean right now. And I just have to... So there's so many projects. Like, I complain to her about this all the time. But there's like so many things going on here. And... We get a lot accomplished, and at the same time, I'm like looking over, and there's literally, I don't know, 10 boxes worth of like dream saltwater aquarium equipment that we have not opened yet.
Yep.
So to put it into perspective, there is a full GHL controller setup still in its box. And it's not like a situation of like, oh, well, GHL just sent us all this stuff for free. Not this one. I bought it. Okay. Then there's an Alcatronic in its box, unopened, sitting next to the GHL. Yeah, so there's that. There are two 80-watt UV sterilizers. And so, like, what are they called? The Pentaires. I need to plumb those in. There's a motorized cleaning head for a protein skimmer to hook up to the GHL controller. That's sitting in a box relatively undisturbed. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's just a lot of stuff. So yes, I would like to do an update on the new aquariums, but there's just so much other stuff I want to get done right before that.
Yeah.
I need help, y'all. There's so much stuff. Harkins is like, I will dine with you as well. Yes, we'll hit up Joel Robuchon. So yeah, that is the fanciest dinner I've ever been to. It's so cool. I must have mentioned it on this program before, but no joke, if you have like a reservation there, when it is like about an hour before your reservation, they will send a gold MGM Grand limo.
Oh yeah, that's the one you were talking about.
To pick you up anywhere in Vegas you are, to take you to your reservation at Joel Robuchon. And there is like a secret entrance into MGM Grand, like literally what looks like a 20-foot wall that looks like stone slides out of the way, and your limo drives into like this secret garden area surrounded by the mansions that they have inside MGM. Take you through the private high roller area just to show you that it's there in case you want to like, lose all your money or something. And then, they take you to your table. It's a pretty dope experience. And then they will hit you up for about, I don't know, these days, $800 per person. Yeah, it's insane. But no, that was a very nice fancy dinner.
Someone did ask what the black stuff was on the plugs and if it was algae. We actually just have black plugs now.
Okay, we're experimenting here. This is part of the experiment, guys.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It's a new thing.
Okay, so we have black backgrounds and we want to get black plugs. And you would think that it'd be easier to get black plugs. There are ways to dye the actual ceramic, but it's not going to be black. It's going to be like gray. So that's not quite what I'm looking for. Then there's this process to dip it in another material. Okay, so this thing here, wow, that's not even it either. That's still like the black. It's just that the purple is growing on the black. So that's why it looks splotchy. But also in the manufacturing process of getting this coating on, like the guy that makes the plugs, he actually even double dips on the coating to try to like make it solid black. But it can just like scratch off because it is just a coating. So we have not figured out how to make like black plugs yet. However,
We're working on it.
we are working on it because Ben just sent me a photo this morning.
Oh, wow.
He sent me
How
a photo.
fortuitous.
This is so on point, guys.
Oh, did
Here,
he 3D
look.
print that?
He did.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
guys, can you see this? Yeah, focus, camera.
There
Bueller.
you go. Oh,
Oh,
no. We had it for a
damn
second.
it. Guys.
Bear with us, please.
Oh, okay. You guys get the picture. It's a black plug. And this is out of a material called PETG. Because I guess PLA is another type of plastic that's more typical in 3D printing. But I guess like you want PETG. But the settings for temperature and everything like that is a little bit wonky. So Ben has been kind of experimenting with his personal 3D printer before I go out and spend a fortune on 3D printers, as is the case of what we do around here. So that, guys, would be an absolutely black through and through frag plug that we might go to if we can get it all to work. Okay. Harkins is like, I service that courtyard every once in a while. The courtyard at MGM. Okay, so Oscar LeBron, beautiful. How can I order from here? My first time on your site. Okay, go to tidalgardens.com/live, and you essentially treat everything you see as like a regular old item, throw it into your shopping cart. But to actually get it, you have to fully check out. So if you want to make sure to get something, you should probably check out more frequently. And as you go, select add to an existing order when you come to the delivery or the delivery option, just so you're not charged like the flat rate of $29.99 each time. Harkin's like, please call me about the 3D printing. I'll let Ben know because I've never messed with 3D printing before. Okay. PETG is polyethylene
terephthalate glycol.
Okay. When can we see the show in 180-degree videos for those with VR?
When we get VR.
Yeah, that would be an interesting time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you to Please for throwing in the link there to help the folks that are first-time viewers of the show and don't know how it all works. But essentially, we're handling all the transaction stuff at tidalgardens.com. Man and Con, I've always gotten the white plugs from Tidal Gardens so far. They're all good quality. Yeah, no, the quality was never really the concern. Thank you, though. It's just the color. Like for photography purposes, we want to do like a black on black background just so that like the eye focuses more on just like the colorful corals.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, a lot of the blue light from the lights that we use for photography bounces off of the white plugs and just causes a really weird casts on the corals. So all around black plugs are better for photography purposes. and a lot less headache for me.
Yeah. But as we mentioned, there's degrees of black. You know, just like it's like it's trying to like match black stuff. Right?
Yeah, like
it's
my black jeans and this black, different blacks. It's not the same.
Not the same. So yeah, it's a process because like in different lighting, it can take on different shades. And right now, for example, it looks kind of brown, but then as it gets more towards actinic, it turns more black. That sort of thing happens. The British Melon. I run a 3D printing business. KM 3D Solutions on Facebook. Uh-oh. Get that plug in there. Print a lot of fish stuff on the side, like mushroom cages and filter caddies, etc., etc. Cool. Marcus Release 187. Why switch to plastic plugs? Color. The end. PLA is degradable in salt water. That is something that I have heard, whereas I think that PETG is not. PETG is reef safe. PLA is not. Okay, Harkins is saying that. I'm wondering if the ABS like liquid resin would be best. Okay, I don't mess with ABS. So I recently chopped through like with like a chop saw one little thing of ABS that might have been 1/8 of an inch thick, and the smell that came off of that thing, it's like I instantly got cancer. Okay, I'm like, no, I am not going to ever mess with 3D printing ABS. I am so good on that. So good. Joshua Clemens, Ansel Adams feels your pain. Did he have an issue with blacks? Oh, but boy, that quote could be taken out of context. Did he have a problem with like because I'm just starting to think of his photography, and it's like it was all like nature stuff.
It is all nature, and he did. It was a lot of complex work with black and whites.
Oh, black and white. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
he's like OG, like not OG, but like top film photographer. Everyone knows who he is if you shoot film.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
I forgot about the whole. I guess he did do a lot of black and white stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Necrocorals. PLA is reef safe, but it will be consumed over time. Sure. I mean, sure, but I'm just thinking like. The coral is going to overgrow that thing. You'll never see it after a while. And the other thing I'm curious about is like how well will this stuff cut when we cut and propagate coral? Because the last thing I want is like us cutting through this plastic and again getting insta cancer like like with ABS. Black and white photographer spent days getting the halftones correct.
He spent so long on each photo. It's insane.
Yeah.
I remember my photography professor hated Ansel Adams.
You know, I
she thought it was pretentious.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like basically, if you've heard of a photographer, it's going to be pretentious.
Fair enough. Yeah.
What's that one lady's name? The one that shoots like a lot of magazine covers. Who's the most famous like female photographer? Shoot, what's her name?
I know a lot. I don't think I know exactly who you're talking about, though.
Blanking. I have no memory anymore.
It's okay.
It'll come to me. In the weirdest time, it'll come to me.
Yep.
Okay, thermoplastics are fairly easy to cut. They'll make your knives dull fast. Yeah, we're going to run it through a bandsaw, like a diamond-coated bandsaw. David Josu, do you guys see the coral market cooling off after the pandemic? I have no idea what to even make of like trying to predict market trends or anything like that, because I was pretty sure that because of the pandemic, nobody would even bother with an aquarium. Like,
and it was the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's like you guys had better things to do, like, you know, like staying in and surviving and whatever else, you know, like food, toilet paper, just necessities. Nope. Let's triple down on like the pets. Like, let's empty out the animal shelters.
And even after things started opening up in the United States, at least, our sales have gone up so much. Huh? What are you pointing at?
Annie Leibovitz.
Oh, right.
That's
yeah, you're right.
Nature Bats Last? Nature Bats Last. Am I parsing that correctly? That's an interesting name. Yep, it's Annie Leibovitz. Yep, Pop Reef. It's like who's like the most famous female photographer? Okay, yeah, that stuff is pretentious. That portrait photography, that's like absolutely pretentious. which is okay. I should back up a little bit. So David Josie, thank you so much for the $4 super chat. Okay, so I actually had to look up pretension because I was like, self-diagnosing here. And I guess like pretension is acting like above something when you're not actually legitimately there. You're acting as though you're the most awesome thing, even though you're kind of not, right? Mm-hmm. But I guess if you're like the most famous, prestigious female photographer, you're not by definition pretentious. Yeah. You actually have the goods, right? It just feels pretentious.
Yeah.
Okay. Careful of the bandsaw. It's like cutting PVC pipe in that case. Yeah, aquarium sales went through the roof during the pandemic. I would tend to agree with that. Things have gotten quite more active here, let's just say. Snap goes, bruh. FedEx didn't get my package to my house 4 days after it was shipped, and now everything but one coral has died. The torch is bleached. Any tips to help it recover?
First, don't order with FedEx.
Yeah. Okay. We have our little issues with FedEx here. Okay. I want to like. Okay. So I'll answer your question first before I like unload on FedEx. What you can do is you can probably be a little bit more proactive on stuff like water changes, probably more frequently. And maybe a little bit more volume, okay? That could help. The other thing is to, if you see it like starting to die off in any way, try to give it a dip in something that's antiseptic, like an iodine dip, or lately we've started to use something called Reef Primer made by like the Polyp Lab folks, which is a combination of potassium salts. And that has some antimicrobial activity as well. And that could help. But other than that, as long as it's still alive, that's like really good. And by the way, a 4-day shipping delay, I'm surprised anything is alive. That's pretty tremendous, in fact. So clearly, we don't really use FedEx that much at all. For whatever reason, like the quality has dropped off with FedEx. Okay, story time. Here on this property, there are a number of buildings.
I already know what story this is.
There's my house. There is a red barn on a hill that is clearly 100 years old. There is a kind of like an outbuilding storage barn. Okay. Clearly a barn. There is a greenhouse. And there is a giant looking warehouse, which we're currently sitting in, all right? Normally, people would make deliveries at the house, the farmhouse right in the front of the property, okay? But FedEx delivers packages at the front corner of one of the barns.
Not even at a door. It's just
not
at
a
corner.
Door. Well, yeah, it's just like at the, yeah, like practically in the middle of nowhere where no one would ever look. It's just like, oh, there's a box on the ground randomly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, weird, really weird. So yeah, we don't use FedEx. And Dev Android, thumbs down on FedEx as well. And here's the thing, like the FedEx reps come here and they try to like say, hey, how are things going with UPS? Anytime you want to come back to FedEx, I'm like, guys, you don't deliver here well. Like I cannot, no matter how much you save me, you can't save me enough if you're screwing up deliveries. Literally to me, okay? It's like, this can't be a thing.
Yeah, if you screw up my Amazon order, I know for a fact you're gonna screw up shipping live animals.
I can't do it. I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Rip all my acros, but luckily I got a full refund. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, acros are gonna ship poorly after like that much time. Coral prices are high. Nice shots though. Yes, coral prices are expensive. Definitely. Somebody was asking earlier that if there might be an Indo ban in the future, because we've had an Indo ban like a little in recent times.
Yeah.
For about 2 years we had an Indo ban, right? And then it opened back up. And there's like kind of hints of a possible new Indo ban. And a lot of it comes down to like some Wild West type activity on what is getting out of that country. So I have a friend that is involved in international import-export. And so I've actually seen some interesting documentation. And so like, okay, so if you were the government of Indonesia, all right, and you wanted to like have a better understanding and control of what's going on in your import-export from your country, right? So obviously this is a small trade, relatively speaking, but it's like the discrepancies are egregious. Okay, so for example, I saw a document from 2017. So this would have been like right before they shut things down. Okay, so you know what an acanthophilia is?
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys, you know what an acanthophilia is. And lately, the prices of acanthophilia are insanely expensive, right? They're like between $1,000 to like $4,000 for one of these things. And the rationale was that, well, they're uncommon in the hobby, they're rarely imported, and technically these are all old stock that they had pre-ban. Okay, that's what they're actually selling. Doubt. Okay, because back in 2017, I saw a document about the number of acanthophilia that were exported by CITES from Indonesia. Okay, any guess, okay, out there, how many acanthophilia were exported out of Indonesia in 2017? Go. I'll give you 10 seconds to get your guess in. Do you have a guess as to how many of these things might have made it out of Indonesia right before it got banned?
Man, I don't know. Couple hundred.
Couple hundred, guys.
Hundred.
Guys, guesses? Anybody? The correct answer is 0.
Oh.
The paperwork said 0. Yet, to this day, every single price list I see has at least 1 or 2 available. Every week, I'm able to order acanthophilia right now. Okay. So since 2017 till now, literally 0 legally have gotten out of that country. So yeah, guys, yeah, 20K, 100K, 1,800, 4 came closest, but you were over. 0, yeah. So yeah, if you're asking like, will there possibly be an Indo ban? There might possibly be, because there's like some crazy activity that I'm seeing, and I'm like, yeah, if Indonesia was like trying to crack down and this sort of activity is still going on, I mean, guys, the Indonesian government has the internet. They can go to TidalGardens.com. They can see I have one for sale. Okay, it's pretty out in the open as to like what's going on. They're gonna be like, okay, well, where did that come from? Literally, the only place where it could have come from, the export industry here. So guess what? Let's go ahead and just crank that all the way down to 0 again. So anyway, there's that. Anything is possible. Anything. Jeremy Place. I am excited. Just placed my first order with Tidal Gardens. I stumbled on your YouTube page and have learned a ton from all your videos. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Let's see. Nicholas Gunner, without wanting to ruin Tidal Garden's expansion plans, but Coralaxy. I was like Coral Galaxy. Okay.
Your brain just had a moment.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure it's a very clever pronunciation. I just can't get there. There's a pretty good shop in Europe in my experience. Only captive bred corals and fish. Very cool. I'm very supportive of very high-end stores in markets that I am not competitive in. So go crazy, go off. My latest shipper was from Ghana, but that stuff was all Indo. Not surprising. Okay, so Michael Hintz, what is the K number in the upper left? Would you like to explain Kelvin ratings?
So Kelvin ratings is essentially just color temperature with the lighting. So right now, as the coral clip goes, it goes from a very warm temperature lighting to a more like warm as in like daylight to a more actinic type lighting. And so that K number that's going is just kind of showing you how far along the spectrum it is, if that makes sense.
It's a little deceptive. Well, deceptive is a bad word. Okay, it's not deceptive. The thing is, it goes for 35 seconds. And so sometimes it might not look like it's even changing because it's happening gradually. But if you were to rewatch this stream and play it on like 2x speed, you will see the color change much more dramatically, going from like a daylight coloration to that more blue light. And this is just to give you an idea of what under different lighting corals can look. So I guess like the technical definition of like when you're talking about Kelvin ratings. So Kelvin is a measure of temperature. Yeah. Like literal temperature, which is, I think that it's the Celsius scale plus 273. Okay. So what that is showing you is that a star burning at 6,500 Kelvin looks yellow, like our sun. Whereas like a small blue dwarf is a much smaller, much more intensely burning star at about 10,000 to 20,000 Kelvin. And that is the actual temperature of a blue star. So
that I didn't know. So yeah. I learned something new today.
Yeah, it is literally the color of the radiation coming off of something burning that hot.
What K is regular sunlight? Asks Totes Magoats.
6,500.
That's 6,500?
6,500 is the color of our sun. Which, oh, by the way, our industry here, they just kind of make up Kelvin numbers too. Because like 10K is a lot more white than what it's actually like, in space. So 10K would be a lot more blue. So I think that once you're kind of like getting up into the 14K to 20K range, almost nothing is like that. That's kind of like more marketing stupid stuff. Yeah. At one time, somebody made a 50,000 Kelvin bulb that's supposed to be just blue. It's marketing. I don't think there's any 50,000 Kelvin stars. I think those are like black holes. Like I think there's like full on collapsed. Alex is like, I like the white plugs better. Maybe. I mean, we're working on the black plug thing. Once we figure out the black plugs,
they'll look infinitely better.
They'll look infinitely better. Again, I am very interested in this PETG 3D printed stuff to get to black. Okay, Chris Burns. If you had to pick a bleeding apple scolie or a war paint scolie, which one would you choose? What would you choose, Becca?
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember.
Bleeding apple versus a war paint scolie.
Oh, I love war paint scolies. War paint scolies are so cool, and they come in like a bunch of different colors, which is really interesting. So, yeah, no, 100% war paint scolies. Because I remember in my video that I did about my different tank designs that I wanted to do, In my nano tank, I said that I wanted a war paint or a master Scully, but war paint mainly just because of the coloration in it. So yeah, that's what I'd choose. What would you choose?
I might have to agree with you. If given only the choice between those two, I think the war paint is just like a lot more dynamic. However, there's something to be said about like a big bright green and red Scully too.
That is true. I think it really depends on, because like bleeding apple Scullies I've seen where it's like a little bit of red where it's kind of but then there's also been some where they've been like really splotchy red and green, which looked really cool.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on the coloration for the bleeding apples. For me.
Yeah. I could see that. Real quick, Aquatic and Stuff just placed an order, got the PayPal response, but nothing from Tidal Gardens. Okay. It is likely in your junk mail folder. For whatever reason, like certain email clients and certain email accounts really hate our automated emails. So please, guys, if you're like at all curious about getting automated emails from us, okay, like just transactional stuff, like where like that you actually placed an order, for example, check your junk mail folder first and foremost, because for whatever reason, a lot of our emails make their way there. So if you still have trouble, feel free to email us. But my guess, that's where it is. Yep, Philly Reefer. Check your spam folders. Mine goes to spam somehow. Dude, I don't know. Like, you would think that like after all these years that we would have figured out how to just do regular old email. They hate us. They hate us. Let's see. Totes My Goats, received my shipment of corals from you guys last week. Everything was warm and the packaging was amazing. Just want to say thank you. No, thank you.
Yes.
Harkin says, get a master. Get a master Scully.
100%.
They're
love
nice.
Them. I love those. They're expansive.
Yeah. And Alex, yeah, you're right. Kelvin numbers are only brand reference for the colors of the bulbs, actually. They differ from bulb to bulb a lot. That is true. That is definitely true. What makes a war paint Scully a war paint Scully? It's just a pattern. Patterns and colors. Yeah. Love the vids. Currently cycling an innovative Marine Fusion 20. There you go. That should be a lot of fun. Let's see. Pop Reef, how are your show tanks coming along in Tidal Gardens? They're actually doing pretty well. It's just, and I don't want to rant it all again, but there's just so many projects that stuff here just goes in like 1/4 speed or something.
Yeah.
Just everything is like in molasses slow. And yep, it was in junk mail. I see it.
Good. Glad you found it.
Yes. That's how it is.
All right. Algae Warrior said, has Becca decided on a tank yet? So I talked about this at the beginning of the stream a little bit, but yes, I have. I don't know. I keep referencing my video that I did about my different tank designs, so I'm going to recover that. So I had 5 tank designs that I had in mind that I wanted to do here. It was either like a 134 gallon cube tank with like a tree type rockscape in the middle. There was a shallow reef tank. There was a drop off tank and a nano tank and a cylinder style tank that I wanted to do. We ended up getting a say that. What are the dimensions again? I'm so sorry.
We got a. I mean, it's kind of shallow-ish at about like 21 inches or so, 20-ish inches, but it is a Planet Aquariums tank. It measures about 60 by 24 front to back by about like let's say 21 tall. So
yes.
It's ballpark of what, 130, 140 maybe?
Yeah. So we're going to kind of combine. So if you have seen my video, we are going to combine the design aspects of the shallow tank as well as the cube tank with the tree and little archways in there. So it's still a work in progress. We just recently got the tank like this week, so we're going to be looking more into it probably this coming week and see what we can do with it.
We had a similar Red Sea tank come in, but and sorry for the folks out there that have Red Sea tanks. It's not my favorite thing I've ever seen in the whole wide world, just because of like the proprietary plumbing is like very, very weird, and it's very thin-walled and metric and stuff. And I'm like, gotta go. Nope, going back right now. This is a deal killer right now. So we ended up sending that tank back and getting a Planet aquarium. Planet. When I say it, it sounds like planted.
Say it again.
Planet aquarium.
Yeah, it does sound like you're saying planted aquarium.
Yeah. Planet aquarium. And so I've seen one before, but it barely counts because my friend Ryan, and he's the guy that with like the 1,000-gallon tank down in Dallas. I did a video on his thing like a couple years ago. Gorgeous tank, but that's like a custom 1,000-gallon tank. Clearly, that's not what I'm actually going to be getting. But after I saw it in person, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty nice. I can rock with this. So, I meaning you. Yeah. you're going to do it all.
Yes.
But I think that like as a tank on its own, it'll be like a good one to work on. The only thing is that it's a rimless tank, and again, sorry for the rimless stands out there, but I'm not into it. We'll see how you like a rimless tank.
Okay, so I know that you aren't into the whole rimless thing, and I don't get the I get the difference like look wise, but I don't get why it's that makes much of a difference.
Okay.
Why does it make much of a difference?
So, in the back of my head, I'm slightly paranoid of the fact that it doesn't have a top brace. The structure of the tank is more fragile.
Okay.
So I would hate for the tank to like blow open the seam and just like empty.
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay, so that would be like worst case scenario, right? I'm under the belief that Planet aquariums, their build quality is such that would be less of an issue. I don't know if there's any like history of them blowing out seams, but that would be one such concern. The second thing is I like having a Euro brace on top just to be able to set something on there.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah.
Because once you just have like a rimless tank, you're basically balancing it on a corner, doing something weird, it's going to fall in.
Yeah.
Or out, one of the two. Whatever you put on there, it's going to fall. And I guess like the last thing is that when you're doing maintenance in the tank, let's say you're like kind of like scrubbing the algae off the glass or something like that. This isn't quite as big of an issue because like your arm isn't just some big meat hammock, not a hammock, but like a mutton chop, right? I don't know why I said hammock, but like a mutton chop. But just like the motion of your arm in a rimless tank creates a tsunami that goes over the edge of the tank.
Oh, got you.
So when Sean has to like scrape algae on the tanks, you know, with his giant, you know, Sean arm, and it's like huge waves going over the side of the tank.
Okay, I could definitely see that then.
So yeah, so that's my reasoning. Luckily, it is fairly simple to add a Euro brace. So if we're having like major difficulties, we'll just order some from the glass store and glue that sucker on.
Okay.
Too pleased with the $9.99 super chat. Gotta go, Than and Becca. Thanks, Too Please. Thanks for the stream. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Nicholas Gunner, could the saltwater aquarium market survive if there was a hypothetical import ban overnight, besides prices skyrocketing? Well, we know because there was an Indo ban in 2018 to basically 2020. Things were fine. Were they fine? Yeah, they were fine. It was fine for the folks. You know what it did? It made everybody very serious about coral farming. Because... see, I didn't really know this because I wasn't an importer, but there's different geographies where we get stuff, right? We get some stuff from like Florida, we get some stuff from Indonesia, Australia, places like that, right? Turns out that like Indonesia is like 90% of the market.
Oh.
And it's shut down for 2 years.
Lovely.
So not only did the industry survive, but I think that whole experience made for a lot more firms and companies to take aquaculture seriously, and I think that's a very good thing. Marcus Aurelius 187. Count von Count lol. Yes, you can thank Luke for that one. I didn't know that was the Count's name from Sesame Street.
Count von Count.
Is
I had no idea.
Yeah,
that was his name. I thought that was.
I just thought the Count.
Yes, the Count.
Count von Count. Missing a 118 on the site, missing a 120. That just means that somebody bought it. That's what just happened. Yeah, Indo is like 90.
Snatched it.
Yeah, Indo is like 90%. Hawaii is like 1%. Yeah. And look at what that 1% did. It's like Yellow Tangs, $600 or whatever it is. I had to drill holes in the clips to stop the water creeping out of the tank from the clips. What clips?
Oh. Lol, I thought my tank was leaking, but the screen clips on the
Oh, the
Fusion 20.
stream. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, anytime that you have something like that's over the edge of your tank that's touching the water, there's like something called capillary action, which draws the water in, up and over. So have you ever seen that, like the high school experiment of like you take like a towel and then you put it in the water?
Oh, yeah.
It goes over. That's essentially what's happening. It happens all the time. Jason, does anyone make a 100-gallon rimless Peninsula tank? I don't know. If I had to guess anyone that might do it, I would guess Red Sea might. Don't love their plumbing, but they might. And I think that Innovative Marine might. They do some smaller tanks like that. Yarp. Pop Reef is asking, would you ever start to breeding fish? What do you think?
No.
No.
No way.
That is a hard non-starter.
Fan hates fish.
That, and like there's like the whole thing of, so everybody I guess has like a different idea of what these industries do. Like even coral farming, like what we do is glorified dishwashing. Like if you saw like what we did on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot of dishwashing type stuff that goes on here. Whereas like fish breeding, there is a huge part of it that it's just like culling fish that have some sort of defects, and it's like people that want to be a vet because they care about animals, and all they do is euthanize puppies. It's just like right? It's like it's like Katie's getting older. Probably time to euthanize it. It's like, that sort of thing. So fish breeding is a lot of like culling, and it's just I just don't have the heart for that. That and like fisher jerks, and yeah, no thanks. I'm good on that.
Sticking to coral.
Yeah, coral is pretty good.
Coral doesn't. Well, I almost said coral doesn't complain. I'm like, yes, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
It complains just fine.
I'm like, what am I talking about?
Yeah. Oh, that was a cool transition. That was like so random.
What, the fish? Yeah.
The fish right on the transition.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was lucky. That's number 127 to 128. Okay. Go back and watch that. Let's see. Waterbox makes something in that size. Okay. Any tips on a tank swap, 29 gallon to a 90? So Lincoln Towns, one thing that I can suggest is have the 90 up and running, and basically cycled in advance will help you a lot. Harkins, I had to put down my dog today. I am so sorry. I had to
Oh, no.
had to bring that up. That sucks. That sucks. That's what stopped me from being a vet. Even alternating as a vet tech, putting animals down was just too hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And aquatic stuff is like, yeah, I had to call fish. Nuts. Yeah, it's just not in me. Especially not for like, I mean, certainly just not just to make money. Like, that's not gonna do it. What's the red on that plug on that mystery center? I didn't catch it when it went by. My guess is it is some sort of not macroalgae, but oh boy, the words, guys. Guys, fill in the blanks for me. Y'all know what it is. Coralline algae. It's probably like a red coralline. And it's probably not quite really that red. You have to kind of coax that out. It's probably just coralline algae. There's a coral show Vegas today that I'm headed to. Interesting. I don't think I've heard of it. I know that there's like some... Nicholas Gunner's like... Coraline? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The brain freezes are like pretty frequent today.
Yeah.
Harkins, get another dog. Get a cat. Get a cat.
Cats are cute.
Cats are cute. They're very independent. Human Potential Labs. That name sounds familiar. Have you ever seen a single bar T5 fixture that was worth buying? I have not seen a single bar T5 fixture. No, I haven't. I have not. No. Russell Childs. Getting older? Yeah, I'd say. There's days I feel it more than others. I like that the first two suggestions both spelled it wrong. Oh. Yeah, you were the first. Let's see. Y'all seem to schedule your live streams the same day as reef stock. Well, if you roll the dice, a quarter of the time, I will be over top of somebody. And in these days, it's like there's events going on like every day. So you schedule it when you can do it, essentially. My cat is worthless and not at all independent. I don't know what that's all about. Like, my cats are like mostly independent, but then they get like demanding at certain times for certain things.
My cat pretends that she's not independent. She definitely is, but she'll just scream at me to play with her. And then when I go to play with her, she doesn't want to play anymore. I think she's just messing with me.
Yeah, like
they're just weird little roommates. They're not actually pets.
They're like scam lords. So like my parents, for example, when they come and visit, if they go to have like lunch like inside my house, all right, they can just go pull up to like my kitchen bar eating area, right? And they'll just like start eating lunch, and the cats will just sit there, you know, politely just like hang out, right? As soon as I walk in, they're like, "Oh my God, we're so hungry, meow meow." "Oh my God, no one feeds us. You're the worst cat parent ever, meow meow." Like they just like turn on the whole like, you know, the theatrics and everything. They were quiet the entire time my parents are eating. But if I sit down and eat, oh my gosh, those cats are like insufferable.
Because they know.
They do this like this meow where they sound like they're dying. Like,
yep.
Like, meow.
They're so pathetic.
They're not gonna make it. These overweight cats trying to scam food out of the one person they know feeds them. It's the worst. Yeah. Let's see. I sculpted a Venus in dry rock and want to encrust it. What is the best way to get coral to encrust on it and then remove the plug? Should I just place it in a 90 degree to the rock and then cut? I'm having a hard time imagining that. I sculpted, what is a Venus?
Oh, I think it's the sculpture Venus. Like
that would be really impressive to do. Okay. To try to get corals to encrust on it. You might not really love the answer, but you might be using like some sort of bandsaw to cut it very, very close to the coral base, and then just to try to glue that directly on, is my guess. Where the plug and the rock meet. So you can do like one of two things. Either use like super glue and just kind of like hold it down. That can work. Or you can use the epoxy stuff. Right? Meow. Yeah, pretty much. Mine has literally run into my legs trying to get to his food bowl to beg.
My cat has a very big problem of walking right where my foot is about to be, and then she gets mad when I step on her. I'm like, you do this. You do this to me every day. Why do you do this?
Yeah, like when I walk downstairs every morning, so like the big chonky cat just goes wump, 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 wump down by herself. But the other one waits for me to like get about halfway down the stairs before she darts down the stairs and always cuts across. So I know to expect her to do that move, that snake move behind me, right? But I'm just thinking like, you know, one of these days.
She's gonna accidentally just kick Penny across the room.
No, I'm going to be taking a header down my stairs, and that's the end of it. Like, this is how it ends.
That's her plan. She's just trying to kill you.
Yep. Russell saying, my 80-year-old uncle's name is Milo. Bad pictures come to mind hearing Venus de Milo. Mauricio Canyon, any recommendation to get RBTAs to show their bubbles? No, dude, that is very random. Like, super random. I've seen them have or not have bubbles in all kinds of conditions. They just kind of do their own thing. They're like cats.
My cat opens the fridge for me. Can you teach my cat to do that?
You don't want that. It's going to open the fridge and leave it open. It's like, who left the fridge open?
My cat opens cupboards when she's angry. If she's not getting enough attention, she'll open all of the kitchen cabinets.
That's funny.
We'll come home and it looked like someone pillaged the pantry. Well, pillaged our kitchen.
So one of my cats knows how to get into the cupboards. The other one doesn't. And it's so weird how like one cat is like in that tactile way so much smarter than the other. Like the one the one doesn't know how to like, so if there's a little crack in the door of the bathroom, like she doesn't know how to like open it further to get out. The other one is just like, no problem, whoop, and then she'll just run on out. But yeah, the one just can't figure out like how to open this door, this crack a little bit wider.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's see. I find things in the toilet.
That sounds about right.
My sister's cat used to look at my tanks when I was in high school. I didn't like that at all. See, I wish that we could have cats like in this building. It's like, so Luke, one of the guys that works here, he's allergic. Otherwise, we would have so many cats up in this place.
Yeah.
It'd be insane. We wouldn't get anything done.
So me and Than get on tangents we get distracted by what animal we could possibly have here instead of cats. And yesterday, we got onto the side of, what if we had a mule or a donkey on the property?
It would be so helpful.
It'd be very helpful. We could, whenever we get rock deliveries, we could just mule it up and we wouldn't have to worry about it. Anyone here on a mule? Anybody have any tips about mules?
It's like at different times we wanted to get mules. We wanted to get
Capybaras.
Capybaras for sure.
Ducks. I want to do duck tube.
Yeah, I want a pig.
Pigs. Yep.
Yeah. The whole bevy of random farm animals.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you wanted one of those cows that are like really super fluffy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted the fluffy cow.
With like the bangs.
Yes, I want a cow with bangs, please.
No alpacas. We're good on alpacas.
Did the neighbors have alpacas or llamas? Our neighbors had something like that.
I'm pretty sure they're alpacas. They're not there anymore. So I wonder if they just got real sick of that.
Russell has the right idea with hairless cats. I love hairless cats so much, especially if they're in sweaters.
Is this Tom's like, what corals are we talking about here?
Well, you know, mules.
We don't do that on these shows that often.
The corals play in the background. You can watch that yourself. We're gonna talk about cows with bangs.
Yeah, exactly. Cats, dogs, pretty much everything. Let's see. I'm still down to build your koi pond. We could have ducks too. Dude, have all the ducks.
Yes.
Then I'll realize just like how much noisier this place just got. Okay, so Justin, hammer coral and toadstool are super happy. Monties and acros aren't thriving. One could argue that the conditions for one might not be great for the other, and you know, in large part when it comes to like kind of care requirements for like these corals, you know, I think that for the most part there's a lot of overlap, but it's not perfect overlap. So there's always going to be some give and take on what's going to be happy at any given time. So is a really good chance that the acros and monties might not be getting enough light potentially. They might not be getting enough flow potentially. They might not like the chemicals coming off of the leather for sure. There could be any number of things really. Flemish giant rabbit. That's also an idea. But I think that if we're going big rodent, capybaras.
Wait, there's giant rabbits?
Have you seen like a picture of this giant Flemish rabbit?
No.
I'm gonna look this up real fast for you.
Thank you, Chevy Fish, for steering the conversation back onto what animals we want here.
Look at this.
Oh my gosh!
Look at this thing.
Look at him, he's so big!
Oh my gosh. That is like a person-sized rabbit.
Oh, I love him.
Oh my gosh.
That bunny could eat that baby.
Yes.
100%.
Oh my gosh.
Look at how big their ears are. Yeah, that's a good idea. We're gonna add that one to the list too.
Gotta add that to the rodent wish list. Yeah, it's like that's why I said that at one live stream back in the day you could hear the alpaca screaming. That was back in the greenhouse. Yep.
I could imagine.
That's when there wasn't a bathroom, and so when I had to go outside to pee, people would be like, "I can hear him peeing." You couldn't. You could not. All right. So yeah, okay. So Justin's saying, yeah, water's good. You know, alkalinity, pH, calcium, mag. You know, a lot of times it really just comes down to just some interactions again with other corals. I wonder if you have any like fish that could be messing with it. Any chance there might be some pest issues. Leather coral is giant and my light was low. That'll do it. Both of those things are not like super duper great. Let's see. Those rabbits are terrifying. They're great.
Terrifying, but in the best way.
You Americans are so weird. True.
Oh, I thought they said wired, so I'm like, both are true, I guess.
Wired and weird?
Wired and weird, yeah. I had cold brew this morning.
Did you really?
Yeah, I made another batch of cold brew.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
there's definitely some...
That explains a lot. Huh? What were you saying?
There's definitely a lot of opportunities to get caffeine here.
100%.
Nicholas, aren't toadstools happy in everything? Toadstools might be. However, there's some chemical warfare that they like to engage in. So other corals might not be super happy about a healthy giant toadstool right next to them. Okay. Would anyone have any suggestions on a coral that I could use to form a natural wall to prevent green star polyps from spreading to another rock? Believe it or not, mushrooms might do the trick, like especially Discosoma. So the thing with Discosoma is that they look fairly innocuous. They look like, you know, smooth little confections, right? But they can wage a little bit of war on, you know, for themselves, and they don't necessarily kill off the thing next to them, but they can certainly hold stuff back. Really unexpectedly effective. Yeah, maybe that. Okay, so anchor down boat. My chalice is losing color. I put it in a more low light area. Should I go for low or medium flow? Low to medium flow is fine. Fine. You might also want to try to ramp up feeding. That could help it out a little bit. My GSP just starts branching because YOLO. Huh. Interesting. Okay, J Place. Good question. Do you guys have any experience with the different test automation setups that are out now, like the Triton or ReefBot? My local fish store said he has heard bad things about the ReefBot. Okay, so I have not messed with ReefBot. I have not messed with Triton. I have not messed with the Mastertronic. So the ones that I have messed with that do automated testing of any kind, one is the GHL KH Director, which only does KH. And I have messed with the Alkatronic that only does, again, a measure of alkalinity. And I am all aboard on getting like more of these things to test more frequently. Now, if I recall correctly, the Mastertronic and the ReefBot essentially are performing a regular standard titration test, just automated for you. So I haven't really messed with those at all. The one that I'm most interested in trying when it comes out is the one by GHL. That's a single ion probe. I think they call it the Ion Director, and it is going to do like automated testing of like 5 different parameters with a single probe. So again, yeah, I guess of all the ones, I'm most curious about that. And I really like the idea of automated testing because, again, it frees up labor for me. And also just to have it always getting done on a regular basis is going to be like really cool. So we haven't talked about any kind of like automation stuff for your tank at all.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
No, probably, I don't know, maybe we'll see where that ends up. I think that all the stuff that we really talked about was just like the super basic stuff of just getting like, okay, let's talk about filling it with water. Like really basic.
First, water.
Yeah, let's
and
let's
then
let's
we're gonna
not,
cycle it.
let's not get ahead of ourselves
Yeah.
here. Okay, Sean Davies. If you don't mind, please explain plating versus encrusting. Do you know the difference? Can you think of like plating and encrusting?
So encrusting, I think, just like covers like it. So I'm just gonna use my water bottle for example. So like it would like just coat the whole thing. Like if it like it would just follow the curvature of this, and it doesn't plating kind of branch out a little bit into like little plate sections? Or am I getting that? Is that right?
It is actually.
Yay!
Yeah,
because
so
plates like look like little discs coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, that's basically it.
Yay! I'm learning things after over a year of being here.
Yeah, guys, like Like, when did you start? You started in like...
I started January of 2020. So I've been here for a year and like 3.5 months.
January of 2020.
Yes.
It was at the start of the internship?
That was the start of the internship, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so Becca was an intern for about like 4 months. And then we hired her on full-time right after.
Yep.
Let's see.
Don't do water. That's when the problems start. You know what? You're probably right, Tom.
Yeah, it's like you're actually not wrong there. If we just lit it, and just imagined, it would work out so much better.
Yeah. Just do what your dad said. Do the
Yeah.
His dad was talking to me. He's like, instead of doing just like a normal tank, just make your own little tank video game and just make your tank like that. I'm like, if I could design video games, I would do that.
It's like our computer programming skill is like way down here. We can like maybe do a blog.
Yeah.
And so my dad's like funny because like well, we used to live in like Kyoto for like a year or something like that back when I was like 3 years old. And he's like saying like, we were able to see like the Nintendo headquarters and blah, 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 blah. He's like telling me all these stories like, we're not Nintendo. You can't just program a video game.
We could if we put our minds to it, but we don't have that kind of time.
It's like I can barely catch up on like the 5 emails I have to respond to every day. It's like, let's start with that, can we? Does lighting really change the color of the coral? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Lighting is supremely important. Supremely. So not only will it change the color of the coral, the actual color of the coral, but just your like visual interpretation of what that coral is going to be dramatically different. So for example, we have an entire system downstairs here, mostly full of SPS. And for most of the day, it's getting like more or less, I don't know, between 10 to 14K spectrum. It's like whitish, bluish, okay? None of the corals look good in that tank until about 4:30 when it's mostly blue, almost all blue, right before the lights are about to turn off. And at that point, everything you see is a rainbow. Like everything is crazy nicely colored. We have like this Walt Disney. Disneys are usually like, it's in Acropora, guys. It's usually yellow. But the ones that we have are like a combination of like pinks, greens, yellow. It's like a total like Easter egg colored rainbow thing. It's insane. During the day, doesn't really look like that. But it's only at that blue stage. There are other corals that don't have any fluorescence associated with it. So when you crank blue light on those corals, it just looks like a black outline.
Yeah, it's just a blue wash.
Yeah, just nothing going on. So your visual appreciation of the corals is going to be heavily impacted by the lighting that you have. A Watchmen reference, love it. What did I say?
I saw that comment too while you were talking. I'm like, I don't know what I said.
What did we say? Because I'm in on Watchmen.
Russell, help us out, please. We have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. What did you pick up on Watchmen? Or maybe did somebody else make a Watchmen reference?
I don't know. We're very easily confused.
Google Global Truth Project and click the Present tab to see the truth about life and death in just 4 pages. It can really change the world.
I'm okay.
I'm good on that.
I'm pretty good.
I'm good.
I don't need to know everything.
Let's see. Water chemistry can too, about high-end ones that just went drab versus cheap ones that got good colors. Everything matters, okay? Water chemistry matters, age of tank matters, food matters, all these things matter, okay? Pound for pound, nothing matters quite like light. Now, I always say, you know what? Don't stress about lighting because like it'll work. Because we get a lot of questions about like, will this lighting work? Yes. Will it grow coral? Yes. Will it color up coral? Probably yes. But when people also ask, like, you know, will it make a difference in this way? It will be profoundly different based on your lighting. And I think this is more for like for beginners that just like don't quite have had that experience. But you can make your corals look real bad. And sometimes they're surprised, like for instance, this prismatic acro that's currently here. Okay, I've had a couple of folks kind of like you know this coral just doesn't look like what you showed on your show. Okay, and I'm like, really? All right, go ahead and send me a photo of it. And I swear it looks like they shot it under like a Home Depot shop light. And it's like, how did you even find that light to put over your tank? Like nobody makes anything that yellow. It looks like it's an incandescent light from the 80s. Like seriously, like a work light. I'm like, nothing you put it under that light is going to look okay. At best, it's going to look yellow. Probably will look brown. Like it was bad.
Almost
it was like
100%
really
look
bad.
brown.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Manhattan coral.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
We're going
That
insane
is.
for a second. We're like, what did we say?
Yeah, what did we say? What reef-safe fish eats Aptasia? I consider copper band butterflies reef safe. That's my number one go-to there. Puddle Aquatics. Hello, Becca, Than, and fellow reefers.
Hello.
Hello, Puddle Aquatics. Let's see. Something was chomping my unhappy corals. Either a lawnmower blenny, an Aptasia eating foulfish, could be either, or a diamond goby in a bare bottom tank. Unlikely to be the diamond goby. So, you know, lawnmower blennies, I'm warming up to them. Do you know what we're talking about? A lawnmower?
No, I can't say that I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So in set 1, top left glass tank, there's like this thing with a giant belly.
Okay.
I'll point it out the next time.
I was about to say, I'm like, I don't think I know
They're
it.
kind of gray mottled colored. It's not like a pretty fish in that way.
Yeah.
But they have like the most like personality laden faces. Like they're just like always like looking around. It's like, you know, there's like a lot going on in that little fish brain, you know. But the one that we have is like so fat. It looks like he has like a marble in his belly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he just sits there and just eats all day.
Okay.
So this, so Justin is thinking that one of those might be like messing with a coral, which is possible. My urchin munched some zoas and died almost instantly.
Poor urchin.
I suppose it could happen. We've got urchins downstairs and they like grab up perfectly healthy snails and carry them around.
They kill our snails because they just carry them around because they like to wear them as hats.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Harden says, my lawnmower blenny is called Tubbs. He is definitely, because he has a big belly.
They get fat.
Tubbs. Tubby boy. Love it.
Ellery is asking, have you guys looked into wormwood tincture for acro-eating flatworms? No. Supposed to be a poor man's version of KZ flatworm stop. Wormwood tincture. Isn't that the stuff that's in like absinthe?
I couldn't tell you.
Like I know wormwood has something to do with absinthe, or at least it used to. I have not looked into that. You know, I don't think I've ever used KZ flatworm stop. I should try that because historically, acro-eating flatworms are so difficult to dip effectively, I guess. What we've used lately that sort of worked was Dettol was okay, and we've also used what's it called? We've used so many dips lately, but but the one that's like that I'm trying to think of is just not coming to mind. It's I guess, is it the one that Two Little Fishies makes? I don't know. Let's see. How do you feel about peppermint shrimp to kill Aptasia? I liked them more in the past, but not so much right now. They don't really do a whole lot, and they're more likely just to like eat one of my micromusa than they are to kill Aptasia these days. Yeah. What about other long-nosed butterflies? Have you had them? No. I don't really trust butterflies in general, only the copper band. 503 Reef Droid. Hello, long-time watcher. What's your best method for ridding bubble algae? Foxface. Yeah. Tom got it. That's my number one. I don't really like Vibrant. So Tom mentioned Vibrant as well. So like right now we're running Vibrant on one of our systems. And it does like a really good job of cleaning up like zoanthids. But when it comes to like LPS, some of them are just pissed off. So I'm really trying to like get away from like Vibrant, but we might just have to have like a system just for zoas, because you know how you're always like complaining about zoas never opening.
Yes, all the time.
So for photography, they are like the least
cooperative. They don't cooperate at all.
Yeah, they're almost always like half closed or like something, right? But Vibrant. Okay, so guys in chat real quick, what's Vibrant, right? So from what I understand, it is like a bacterial product that boosts like this certain type of bacteria that eats that like, what does it eat? Basically algae, I think. Or like the precursors of algae, whatever, but it controls algae. And sometimes algae is what's closing up those polyps.
So it just gets rid of the algae that's in there and they open back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in doing so, I think it's also depleting something that large polyp stonies like. So it's messing with those guys.
Gotcha. So you'd have to have them in like a different system.
Yeah. But maybe. Tyler Jack said, Golden Goose acros now on my wish list for my tank. Your acros are looking really good. We're very happy with the acros lately. They are doing really, really well. And we've started to like, so next door, we started to do some like heavy duty blasting for pests. Like whole tank treatments more and more and more. Like in the past, we just weren't really well set up to do it. But like lately, we found a good stash of interceptor for like the little creepy crawlies, and we've also like gone hard on like flatworm exit and stuff. And so we're just like nuking tank after tank after tank, and it is like the most like cathartic feeling thing, just to like go through and do that. So. I think it's helping. Even sometimes when you can't like see the problem, it's like I can feel that, like I can feel the corals itching sometimes or something. This weird connection. It's like, yeah, let's blast this tank. Because here's the other thing: we don't have like crabs, like hermit crabs and stuff like that. We're doing like less and less and less and less with like peppermint shrimp and cleaner shrimp. So like the idea of dosing interceptor, which is usually used for like red bugs. I mean, even our red bug problem is like after we like blasted with interceptor, is like almost very difficult to find at this point. But there's like some actual like little creepy crawlies that aren't even real pests. They look like little mice, they're not mice shrimp, but like mantis shrimps, and they form like these dirt trails, and their little cocoon dirt trails attract more dirt that then start to grow algae, and they happen to like to do this right up against like a coral's flesh, and that causes the coral to die back. So like the little creepy crawly isn't actually even a pest onto itself. It's not like directly attacking the coral, but just because of its tunnels, it kind of is messing with things. So interceptor just blasting those guys too. So it's like, oh cool, you know, get rid of that problem sort of thing. Okay. Wormwood contains a chemical thujone, so that might be what is toxic. So look up thujone SDS aquatic fate before you think of it. Death of a Legacy. Have a bunch of hammers and a 13.5. Any other corals that could work, or just stick with hammers towards this frog spawn. It's kind of a small tank that might have aggression issues. Yeah. Can you think of anything that might go well with like hammers? I'm asking the person that like
that knows the least.
I mean, just something that might look good, I guess.
I'm trying to think.
Like just artistically.
Artistically, I'm just like going through like the Rolodex of everything that I've ever shot ever.
Probably like thousands of corals, right? And what do you think about like maybe other large pulp stonies? Maybe like
that's what I was like. I don't know if you want to do more SPS or LPS in your tank. I mean, torches are pretty. If you want to get like more like depth and stuff, I know since hammers they kind of come pretty far up off where they're sitting. If you want, I feel like maybe getting, I don't know, Zoas or anything like that to kind of like have something more towards like the bottom or something, or maybe some sort of encrusting.
Yeah.
SPS. I can't think of anything specifically, but
yeah, like perhaps some kind of like again some kind of matte forming type thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, Zoas could be a good thing to try. But if you're looking for also like a showpiece thing, maybe like either like a Micromusa or a Scully, that could work as well.
Scully would be cool.
What par range do you run your SPS grow out tanks? Right around 300, I would say. Let's see. You should do a huge mix of fairy wrasses in one of your large display tanks. Are any of them up and running other than the 600?
The Anemone one.
There's okay, so technically, let's see. There's 4 show tanks with water running through them.
1, 2. Oh yeah, I guess the other one does have water running through it. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, there are. We don't have lids though. That's the only problem with fairy wrasses. I think they're gonna launch. And so Tyler, I don't know if. By the way, I'll pull up a fairy wrasse so you know.
Oh no, I know what fairy wrasses look like. I've had to go through a lot of the B-roll we have of other tanks, so I know what those look like.
There's so many different kinds.
They look pretty.
Like, that'd be pretty cool. I wonder if they'll fight though.
Are they like tangs where they do that?
I think all fish are jerks though.
Oh.
Like every fish wants to go killy. That's like the most frustrating thing. It's like, gotta go catch these fish. Favorite light? I don't think I have a favorite light, to be perfectly honest. The lights that we use most here are Ecotech Radions. We've messed with a lot of T5s in the past, whether it be cheap Amazon fixtures or expensive ATI fixtures. And we've also messed with Orphix. Yeah, I don't have a favorite at all. Do you have? Oh, and we have Kessels.
We have Kessels, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any like preference as far as like shooting?
I like. So I know that the same company makes the ones that are both over set 4 and 5, but I really prefer the color range on the ones over set 4 or whatever.
Okay.
The ones downstairs, because the ones over set 5 are very blue.
Okay, so what she's describing,
yeah,
are they're actually both from the same company. So the ones that she prefers are the Gen 4 Radeon Pro. The ones in the new system that tend to be more blue are the Gen 5 Radeon Blues. And yes, the Gen 5 Radeon Blue is very blue, and it'll never get white. It's like it's blue and really blue.
So shooting in those tanks is a little bit hard. However, just regular old T5s are really nice for photography purposes.
Yeah.
I have no problems with T5s ever.
T5s are awesome.
Yeah.
For photography. Like I don't know if you can do better than really high quality T5s.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. A lot of my opinions do always come from a photography standpoint. So
yeah. Now, will they all work to grow corals? And again,
yeah.
Yep. They all work. If you're looking for something very specific, then you're going to have to get pretty specific yourself on exactly what it is you're looking for. Harkins, I hate those isopods. Acans in the sand. Yeah. Yeah. I think jawfish can hold their own in most tanks. Oh, Nikita De La Harp. What can cause zoas to shrink? Everything.
Literally, you could look at them funny and they'll shrink.
Yeah. So people are always asking about like how beginner appropriate zoas are. And I think that in a vacuum, zoas are super beginner friendly. Like if the zoas are happy, they will be out and open and thriving. The problem is there's so many problematic things that can happen with zoas that cause them to shrink. So they are prone to bacterial infection. Whatever it is that's on their skin really also promotes the growth of algae right on top of them. So they're more likely to get overtaken by algae. There are any number of pests that come and eat zoas. So as much as like you hear about like, oh, zoas are toxic, that doesn't stop darn near everything from eating them. So like certain fish will eat them with no problem. There are certain starfish that will eat them. There are certain spiders that will eat them. There are certain snails that will eat them. Like run the gamut. Oh, nudibranchs, flatworms. Yeah, it's like for what zoas. Like the zoa is like the ultimate food stuff for everything on the reef, apparently. So yeah, that'll do it. No problems. Zoas will be great.
All right, and then Justin's asking, what primary lens do we use for a lot of our shooting? Canon with 100mm macro. That's exactly what we use. For both filming and photography, 100mm macro is the way to go with specific coral shots. We have had recently we've been doing a lot of like our reef to reef sails, and where we've had to, so a lot of our photography we do with camera on tripod through photographing through glass, but for these shows we've been shooting so much that we don't have the space to do that, so we've been doing a lot of top down shooting with like a lens housing to go underneath the water. And we found that a 100mm macro with the what? I'm blanking it's rubbing off. It's the
image stabilizer.
Thank you very much. You have to make sure it has an image stabilizer, the image stabilizing lens, to make sure that if you are doing a lot of handheld stuff, because one, the autofocus is a lot faster than the other lens that we have, and the images come out a lot crisper. It is very expensive. Maybe double the price of the other 100mm lens that we have, but the photos come out a lot cleaner.
So there are two different Canon 100mm macros, and we actually have both here. One is like the regular one, and the other one is like the L series one, and the L series one is, again, double the price. It is, I mean, optically they're super similar.
Oh yeah, they're definitely similar. I think the only difference I see is just the quality when you're doing handheld and with the autofocus. Yeah, that's pretty much my biggest differences that I see.
Yeah. So
you could easily get the one that's only $500 and be perfectly fine as long as you use a tripod. So
yeah,
A+ stuff. I like how you can tell I'm a photographer because I say only $500. for a lens.
Everything is expensive in photography.
This is the most expensive hobby that I have gotten myself into.
Yeah.
That I went to school for.
Yeah. Yeah, because when it comes to like certain hobbies, it's always like so relative. Like at one time, it's like the reef aquarium hobby is expensive, and it certainly is a lot more expensive since I thought that, right? But compared to like photography is like pretty darn expensive, and then you compare it to videography. It's like videography is like really, really expensive.
Yep. Yeah, and I have friends that took. So I minored in photography, so I didn't have to take all the photography classes that a major would have to take. But a lot of my friends who majored in photography, they would have to take medium format film classes, and they would be telling me like, I just spent so much money on a camera for this one class. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
so,
like a Hasselblad.
So don't yell at a photography student when you say like, oh, I spent so much money on supplies. Like, no, you didn't. I can guarantee you did not. You think.
Yeah, so like Russell knows what's up. It's like, don't be a bird photographer. 500 millimeter IS. Yeah, that's expensive.
Oh, I love a 500 millimeter.
Would you really?
I do. I've been doing a lot more nature stuff.
It's like 30 pounds or something.
I know it is. I've been doing quite a lot more nature stuff in my free time.
It looks
lately.
like a missile launcher.
It does, but it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't know about them birds.
About them birds.
It's like they want to capture that bird in flight. That means that bird can't know you're around.
I got some pretty good shots of a hawk not too long ago, like just jumping off of a branch. It was pretty cool, but it was kind of far away because again, my lens only goes up to 200 millimeter, and I was very upset.
Aw.
Tear.
Single
Photos
tear.
were still good, but they could have been better.
I have the standard 100 millimeter, but not the L. But I spent a ton on the Panasonic GH5 S camera, and the lenses are micro four thirds, and they're stopping that form. They are? I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. I got the Canon RP with the 24 to 105. Any pointers on taking coral pictures?
That looks like a very wide angle lens.
You might have minimum focus distance issues as well.
Yeah.
Actually, do we have any pointers on taking coral pictures? You have several.
I have several videos.
Several videos on that topic, Puddle.
I'm so glad you asked. But yeah, so when you're taking coral pictures, you really want to have, we suggest more macro-based lenses, mainly because you want to get up close to the glass. And without a macro lens, you're gonna, so when you're thinking about lenses, sometimes if you're too far away from something, you're not going to be able to focus on it. It's going to be blurry. Same thing if you're too close to something. So with a, 24 to 105, you're only going to be able to get so close to it before you're not able to focus on it. Macro lenses, you really don't have that issue. So there's that. Unless you wanted to get like more wide angle shots of your tank, then that's fine, but definitely would invest in a macro lens. Canon RP. I'm not familiar with the Canon RP, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, it's kind of like their mirrorless line.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a good lens.
It is good.
I think you just might have to be a little bit further away from the tank to shoot it at 105. You might have to be like 3 feet away from your tank.
Yeah, and that can kind of you might not be able to get the shot that you want with that.
Yeah. Other thing is like the number one thing, get a tripod.
That was just what I was about to say. I'm like, if anything, please get a tripod when you're shooting for anything. It'll help your images out quite a bit, especially if you have to. If you're dealing with very minimal light and you have to lower your shutters. Increase your shutter speed, or different things with your aperture, and if you run out of ISO space, yeah, you're gonna want to get a tripod to help with that. Yeah.
So I know that like nobody really is quite as stupid crazy about tripods as I am. But like when it comes,
he is a little crazy about tripods. I will say
it's essentially cost no object for some of the stuff that we use for stuff. So this is for the ultimate photo geeks out there. But this camera right here is sitting on top of a fluid head made by Really Right Stuff. Okay, Really Right Stuff is a very high-end brand. Okay, they literally stopped making this particular fluid head because it was too good and nobody would buy it. so they discontinued it, and they're trying now to redesign it to make it cheaper. It was literally too good for the marketplace. Okay.
We somehow managed to get our hands on one. What did you get us off eBay?
I got it off of eBay because some photographer out there, because of COVID, had to sell his. And I'm like, I'm going to swoop in and snatch that up.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah. But literally, the company couldn't sell them effectively because it's just so much overkill. And I'm like, that is mine. That's the one I have to have. And for like the longest time, I couldn't even order it because they weren't even special making them anymore. But I found one. It's like, had to have it.
What macro would you recommend for the RP? I don't know.
I don't think that RP makes a macro. So what I would do is I would get the adapter and use the 100 millimeter L. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Russell, carbon fiber tripod to reduce vibration. So there's like this like holy trinity of like tripod stuff, right? It's like it can be cheap, it can be sturdy, it can be cheap, sturdy, or light.
Yeah.
Okay. Choose two. If you want, if you want cheap and sturdy, it will not be light. If you want sturdy and light, it will not be cheap. So like it's just you pick two of the three. So yes, carbon fiber, both cheap and sturdy, but usually much more expensive.
There's some heft. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said cheap. You said cheap and sturdy.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Like I said cheap. Definitely not cheap.
Yeah.
So it is sturdy.
It's sturdy and it's light. But it's not cheap.
Okay. Yep. I love Really Right Stuff. Have a ball head from them. Yes.
We have multiple.
Yes. Yeah. We got some ball heads here.
That's one good thing I learned about working here. Than sold me one of his old Really Right Stuff ball heads.
Because it wasn't big enough.
It wasn't big enough for what cameras we were using. So now I get a Really Right Stuff head at a discount-ish price for my own stuff. So that was fun.
Okay, what's the minimum size for a coral-only system for Brezio? Boy, I am the wrong person to ask about minimum tank sizes. Really the wrong guy. Because, like, I'm Mr. get the biggest tank you can sort of thing, right? But I have seen other folks with, like, nano tanks. They do perfectly well with very, very, very small tanks. It really depends on your coral selection and what you're trying to keep. I mean, I think that if you stuck with more of, like, the hardy corals that in and of themselves don't take up insane amounts of space, you should be okay. But I think you just when you go smaller, you have to be more judicious about your coral selection. You're going to be a lot more limited. Like I said, it can be done. It almost depends as much on the hobbyist as it does on the tank, if that makes sense. I forget exactly how many corals are in this show, but I think that we're winding down towards the end. So, guys, if you have any questions, now's the time. Forever hold your peace.
I think there's around 248 corals in this show, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So we got about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Don't be shy now.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, let's see. Oops. Yeah. So, Did anybody? This is totally off topic. She already knows what I'm gonna start talking about.
Probably.
Did you guys see the Snyder cut? Did you guys see the Snyder cut of Justice League? Because right now that is my jam. Like she watched it and fell asleep apparently.
It's 4 hours long, and we watched it. We started watching it at 7. I don't do well at night. I'm not a night owl. I wake up early. I'm an old person.
I am a total night owl, and yeah, I'm all about it. Like I did not like the original theatrical release of Justice League, so I kind of had like tempered expectations at best for this new one that was coming out. But boy, it's like 100 times better.
I will say it was a good movie. I saw like 3/4 of it. I fell asleep for like an hour. I didn't fall asleep through the whole thing. I saw the best parts of it, and I will say it was a really good movie, hands down. All right, people are starting to ask questions now.
Good.
You can't just ignore them.
Hi, Than. Great coral shots as always. That's all her. Any thoughts on 1 C sweep versus 2 DC streamer pumps on random? They're going to be pretty different. Like, so here's the thing. I used to have like C swirls, and they're really cool. It's just, it gets really bulky once you start talking about C sweeps a lot. There's a lot of cable management that has to go on and everything like that. I'm sure it's highly effective. 2 DC streamer pumps on random. I really haven't messed with that product exactly. But again, you're going to get pretty different performance because they just functionally act different. Harkins is like, if you're serious about needing work done, I can come by in 2 weeks and help. I will. I might message you. I might message you. I'm not even kidding. It's like,
I was about to say, I don't think you would.
I'm not gonna turn down help. Can you suggest some corals for the 160 liter tank? I have 1 Duncan, about 15 heads, and a few Zoas. Blank palette, right? You have a lot of flexibility there. A lot of personal preference. It depends on what you like.
Puddle Aquatics, are the beer drinking live shows gone forever? Is there hope, or is there hope in the future?
You know what? Okay. I was just about to say I don't really drink, but I started.
Yeah, you started again.
I started it again because I wanted to make I wanted to make old fashions at home, and so. But here's the thing: like my favorite part of an old fashioned isn't even the whiskey. I like the sugar and the bitters.
I was about to say you like the bitters. You add too much bitters.
It's like I use a little bit too much sugar. I put in too many of like the cherries.
Mm-hmm. The maraschino cherries.
Yeah, specifically the Luxardo brand.
Oh yeah,
maraschino cherries. So the amount of actual whiskey in the drink, probably kind of irrelevant, right? Because I'm all aboard on the sugary flavors and stuff. So yeah, I guess technically I do that, but like on stream, probably not. Just because like me getting drunk at my age now sucks. It sucks. So no, I'm not.
Especially not on beer.
Oh,
beer drunk? No. Good on that.
Yeah,
I have better things to be doing with my time.
And I don't want to have to recover for like a day and a half.
That's true.
No, I'm good. What does the counter on the top left mean? That is the color temperature, meaning it's a subtle change because it happens over the course of 35 seconds. But what we're illustrating is that the lighting does change from a more yellow color, more daylight colored, all the way to a more blue actinic color. So if you were to watch this on replay and just kind of like sped it up, or kind of like just like scrub through the timeline, you'll see that it gets more blue towards the end of the timer. I'll bring you one of my old-fashioned mixes.
They make old-fashioned mixes?
They make mixes? Yeah. What? But even then, like if I'm gonna have an old-fashioned, I'm having like one. True. And the ice cube is like as big as my fist, sort of thing. You know, it's barely any actual drink.
I still need to buy some gin. I need to get some good gin. Make some gin and tonics at home.
Gin and tonics are good.
Simple, easy.
Okay, Berlin method. If you're needing more questions, do you have any tips for dealing with the bane of my existence, aka vermitid snails?
Vermitid snails.
I hate them too. We physically remove them one at a time, basically. If it's really bad, we'll take the entire rock out and sterilize it.
What's the issue with vermitid snails?
Okay, so that's another one of those pest not pest things.
Okay.
Okay, they are actually a snail that is a sessile snail, meaning it stays in one spot like a coral.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'll point them out. We have a few downstairs.
Oh, really? Okay.
I hate them. So what happens is they multiply, and that's really the big problem. They also cast like a mucus web to catch food, and sometimes that like touches coral, and sometimes the coral doesn't like it. But the bigger problem is that they like reproduce like crazy. Also, they form like you know when you take like like the ice cream thing, like that, and then it kind of forms like a swirl, and then it ends up with a little tip.
Yeah.
So they kind of like form that shape. Okay. And then people like jab their hands on those tips.
Oh no.
And it instantly gets infected.
Oh
so people hate it for that reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
So, vermitid snails. People don't like them. Okay. Counters how long the slide is up before it changes. Slightly different. They're evil sea cockroaches. Yeah. Just have some willpower and don't go overboard with the drinking. Yeah. Like, no, no. Okay. Imagine if you wanted to have a sugary drink. That's like kind of like my take on it. Like if you wanted a sugary drink, this is like something. But no. When it comes to like alcohol, like I'm just not your guy. Like I just don't do a whole lot with it.
Yeah.
I'm super boring. I mean, like I used to be I used to like really nice wines. I'm not even feeling that anymore right now.
Really?
Okay, so here's the thing. She likes really cheap wines. Like, and here's the thing. I think it's great. I think it's great because I can't enjoy like really cheap wines anymore. I'm like, I can tell because I've kind of been spoiled. But like, if you can enjoy cheap wine, I'm not going to ruin that for you.
The thing is with me, I don't think that it's like the best wine in the world. It's just the point to where like this bottle was $2 and it's not horrible, so I'm still going to continue buying it. Dude. Although I would like to try some really like up there wine.
Don't.
No, I'm going to.
Just
I
don't.
Have to. I am more of a fan of wines that aren't actually made from grapes. I like me a nice mulberry wine, elderberry wine, good stuff. Good. Those are some good wines there. Blueberry wine's okay. That one's all right. Blackberry wine is good.
I've never tried any of those.
Blackberry wine, my favorite. Very sugary, very sweet. So come at me for that if you like, but
somebody said I was wondering if I was getting gooey clumps of sand. Didn't know they did that. Got annoying because it would start to cover corals with gooey sand.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's they send out mucus webs. So if you ever like wanted to like stir up like a lot of detritus in your tank and then you start to see just like webs, that's them. And people say that about bumblebee snails eating them. I haven't messed much with bumblebee snails. I think that the problem that I've heard with bumblebee snails is that since they're small, they get stuck in your pumps and then your pumps can like jam and stuff. So I don't know. And some people say that the bumblebee snails didn't do anything about it. I don't know. But no, they like vermitid snails are like kind of not that great. Kind of not great. What number are we on? 239. Coming down to the final stretch. No wine. I like cheap good wine also. Champagne is great as well. Boy, you know what? I'm not a champagne guy.
Champagne's okay if it's mixed with orange juice and you make it a mimosa. You're like a
brunch mom now.
Yes. Sans Bloody Marys. Hate Bloody Marys.
I love Bloody Marys.
No, thank you. Tomato juice does not need to be in my cocktail.
I like so I could stand to do like the entire Bloody Mary bar just for like all the random food, like the crayfish and like the pickles.
I was about to say I've seen people put like fried chicken in
Yeah.
their Bloody
Oh, yeah.
Marys.
Oh yeah, with the hot sauce and everything.
I've seen people make Bloody Marys with like grilled cheese because then it's like grilled cheese and tomato soup type.
Oh, that sounds
type
good.
thing.
That sounds good.
I don't know if I can get behind it, but it seems cool.
Hi, Mom. What's up?
I was just looking to see if the name of the coral and the picture matches.
This one does. The one I'm looking at. Let's see. I had a possible clog my Pax Bellum reactor. That could happen too. Let's see. Peppermint vodka I got hooked on this winter. Boy, I haven't drank vodka in forever. No, but I was just thinking again about like the Bloody Marys. Like, I just want that thing overflowing. Like it's like a salad coming out of my thing. Like
to each their own, I guess.
I don't even care about the vodka in it.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, I swear that one place literally had like an entire skewer full of like crayfish. Like a 6
I'll
day.
take the crayfish out of it. And get it.
Raw egg. Okay. All right.
Interesting.
We're getting down. All right. Yeah, it's the weird stuff that I can get into occasionally.
Marcus was talking about peppermint vodka in the winter. I missed before COVID when I could during the Christmas time. The zoo opens at night with a bunch of different lights and stuff at the zoo, and you're allowed to like get Baileys and hot chocolate and walk around the zoo with it and just drink alcohol, warm alcohol, and look at Christmas lights. Like, what? That's great. COVID needs to be over so I can do that.
Just hang out with the
Yeah.
with the pretty lights and the animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Didn't see much effect from bumblebee snails. I will try coral snow. Okay, I've heard coral snow as well. Seems to be hands-on task to deal with them, pretty much. The silent one. Dan, you taking appointments with the public right now? No, not yet. I hear bumblebees are carnivores. Yes.
They are?
Yes. That's why they're eating the vermitid snails.
Oh, I guess I missed that part.
Oh,
of the
just the
conversation.
bumblebee snails.
No, I knew it. I knew they were talking about bumblebee snails. I guess I missed that part of the conversation where you said that they were eating the vermitid snails.
Yeah.
Got it.
Philly Reefer likes the Kahlua. Gotta like that.
I don't think I've ever had Kahlua.
I think you might love it.
I know I probably would because it's like coffee.
Yeah.
It's coffee flavored. Yeah.
It's
liqueur.
Yeah, it's a coffee chocolate like a cocoa type liqueur.
Yeah.
Very Mexican, very Yucatan Peninsula.
Interesting. Okay.
Female vermitids can have hundreds of babies in their tube at any given time, so it's a crapshoot. Yeah, I know. They breed. That's the problem. They breed like crazy. Yeah, it's when it comes to like stuff you don't want to have in your tank, it is so good at being in your tank. It's like nobody's ever complaining like, you know what? I just had a mass infestation of Hollywood stunners. No, not Hollywood stunner, but like home record acropora, or I just had like an infestation of Nexus burst anemones. Nobody's complaining about that. Like it's always going to be like some like a gray sponge or something, or some weird pokey snail. By chance, when you'll be possibly getting any blue symposium? We might even have some. It's not terribly common, but we might. The silent one. I got $400 here with your name on it when you do take appointments again. I'd rather pour money back into local rather than non-local. Oh, appreciate it. But yeah, it'll be a little bit for sure. No plans just yet. I need to get vaccinated first. Like, I just became eligible like literally yesterday, but I haven't gotten my I was gonna say, trying to say something clever. It's a shot. I got nothing, guys. I got nothing. But yeah, it's I just want to be like kind of like done with this whole thing. Like, even for somebody like me that is like perfectly designed by the cosmos to do very well in isolation like this, I really do want to get out and travel a little bit. Like, I had to cancel some pretty sweet trips,
You really did.
It's like I don't have like fancy schmancy travel business cards, like, credit cards with like all these like travel perks and global entry to stay at home all the time. Okay? Like, I got like the sweet lounge access and stuff, guys, and I haven't been to an airport in like a year and a half. It sucks. So I want to get out a little bit. Yeah, but it also would be nice if other countries would let me in occasionally too. That'd be nice. We'll have to work on that. And,
All right, I'll get on that.
Actually, you need to go get yourself like a passport.
I do. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. Yep. I need the passport, and I also need the vaccine passport. Apparently, that's going to be a thing. I don't know. I don't think that's official yet. But
we done.
I was about to say, it looks like it's looping.
We're done, guys.
That's the whole show.
Thanks very much for hanging out with us. Hopefully, you had a good time. And yeah, I think that the next show, for those scheduling well ahead, is going to be on the 17th of April. But also not a YouTube show, but we're having our Reef to Reef show or live sale in 2 weeks on Saturday the 3rd. So that's also some stuff you guys get to look forward to. Anyway, I will see y'all next time. Happy reefing, y'all. Take care.